In the pre-dawn darkness of October 6, 1986, a monstrous turmoil brewed beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. Deep within the cold embrace of the sea, Captain Igor Bratanov stood resolute in the control room of the K-219, his palm pressed firmly against the frigid steel. The submarine quivered ominously, a living entity in distress, as if it could sense the impending doom. Around him, the crew's faces flickered in the harsh glow of red-lit displays, eyes wide with fear and disbelief. The numbers on the screens told a grim tale. The battery dwindled to a mere 23%. Reactor cooling systems lay dormant, and 3 compartments were succumbing to the relentless intrusion of water. Just hours before, the missile tubes had erupted in a cataclysmic explosion, and now Bratanov clutched the damage report that confirmed his darkest fears. There was no saving the vessel. It was a tomb in the making. The explosion had struck without warning, a silent predator lurking in the shadows. 16 R-27 nuclear missiles, once mere cargo, had become agents of chaos when a propellant leak ignited. The fiery eruption had ripped through the steel hull, claiming the life of Seaman's Sergei Preminin and unleashing a toxic miasma that infiltrated the missile compartment. But it was the shock wave that had crippled the reactor's cooling system, the very heart of the submarine, now spiraling into an uncontrollable inferno. Bratanov barked commands, urgency lacing his voice as he initiated emergency procedures. The reactor room needed flooding, bulkheads sealed, and the ascent to the surface attempted. Yet the Atlantic was a merciless adversary. Water surged through the breaches, overwhelming the submarine's ballast tanks, and the descent felt inexorable. One by one, critical systems fell, a relentless cascade of failure, each collapse echoing the impending disaster. In the control room, an oppressive silence hung thick in the air, interrupted only by the chief engineer's report 100 feet, then 1,150, as the abyss beckoned from 18,000 feet below, a depth where rescue was merely a distant dream. They had crossed the threshold of hope, plunging into a watery grave. Bratanov's mind raced, calculating the dwindling time left. Battery life flickered at 21%, offering perhaps 90 minutes before darkness enveloped them entirely. No controls, no air, only the suffocating embrace of an irradiated tomb for 120 souls. The air was thick with the acrid stench of burning insulation, mingling with the palpable scent of fear. Crew members began to falter, the signs of distress manifesting in nausea, dizziness, and the tingling sting of chemical burns. In that harrowing moment, clarity struck Bratanov. While the submarine was beyond salvation, he could still fight for the lives of his crew. He ordered an emergency blow of all tanks, the shriek of air rushing into the Baltic Ocean, and for a fleeting half-minute, hope flickered as their descent slowed. Yet, the reprieve was short-lived. "Captain, Reactor 2 is overheating," rasped the engineer, his finger trembling towards a gauge that teetered on the brink of catastrophe. "If we don't shut it down manually, the core will melt through the hull." Bratanov understood the gravity of the situation. A grim choice lay before him. Someone would have to brave the flooded radioactive reactor compartment to manually operate the controls. It was a mission steeped in peril, a near-certain death sentence, and the weight of that decision hung heavily in the air. Seaman's Sergei Preminin lay lifeless, a stark reminder of the cost already paid. The submarine, once a bastion of strength, now demanded even more from its crew. In the face of despair, Bratanov prepared to confront the inevitable. fully aware that the fight for survival was not just against the ocean's depths, but against the very essence of fate itself. In a moment that would forever be etched in the annals of history, Lieutenant Nikolai Belikov and Senior Sergeant Dmitry Kolesnik stepped forward, their resolve unyielding. They volunteered for a mission that would test the very limits of human endurance and sacrifice, knowing full well the harrowing risks they faced. Exposure to lethal radiation that the fate of their comrades and the mission lay squarely on their shoulders. As the hatch of K-219 shrieked open, an icy torrent of water surged forth, a chilling reminder of the depths they would navigate. The erratic flicker of emergency lights cast grotesque shadows, distorting the reality of their desperate situation. The radiation counter screamed its warning, maxing out in an instant, a harbinger of the danger that awaited them. Belikov plunged into the frigid depths first, the WD closely behind, the hatch sealing shut with a grave finality, echoing their fate. Time stretched painfully as they battled against the elements. Of the hull plates, each creak a reminder that K-219 was still descending into darkness. Inside the reactor chamber, the two men fought a desperate battle against the jammed control rods. Radiation surged around them, a lethal force that claimed seconds of their lives. The air was thick with tension, punctuated by shouts and splashes, strained breaths echoing over the intercom. Then, at last, the first rod engaged, sending a surge of hope through the dire 8M. Yet, the third rod remained stubbornly stuck. Bratanov, watching from the bridge, felt his heart race, the weight of responsibility pressing heavily on his chest. The specter of disaster loomed ever closer. Without all rods engaged, a catastrophic meltdown would poison the ocean for generations and seal the fates of all aboard. "Keep trying," he whispered, a silent prayer for his men. And then, Kolesnik's voice broke through the chaos. "We got it!" The relief was palpable as all three rods finally engaged. The reactor began its shutdown, the imminent disaster averted, but at a harrowing cost. Belikov and Kolesnik had absorbed more than 1,000 rem of radiation, 5 times the fatal exposure limit. They had sacrificed their own health in a moment of sheer bravery. As K-219 broke the surface at 9:17 in the morning, the submarine rolled violently in the stormy embrace of the Atlantic. Its stern was sinking, the bow pitched skyward, a wounded beast fighting for survival. From the bridge, Bratanov surveyed the devastation. Missile Tube 6 had vanished, a gaping wound from which water poured relentlessly. Above, a U.S. Navy reconnaissance plane circled, the Cold War rivals observing the unfolding drama. American submarines lurked beneath the waves, their presence a stark reminder of the geopolitical stakes at play. In this moment, however, survival eclipsed the politics that had defined their existence. Bratanov ordered the evacuation. Men stumbled from the vessel, drenched and shivering, clinging desperately to life rafts. A Soviet freighter raced toward them, but time was slipping away. K-219 continued its descent, the stern disappearing beneath the crashing waves. Finally, Belikov and Kolesnik emerged from the control room, their bodies ravaged by radiation, skin red and peeling, a testament to their ordeal. Medical officers rushed to their sides, but Belikov, with the strength of a leader, insisted, "Help the others first." No one dared to argue with his resolve. By 11:03, K-219 was fading fast. Bratanov stood resolute on the bridge, watching as his submarine succumbed to the depths. 116 men drifted in life rafts, pulled from the clutches of the abyss just in time. Yet, 4 souls were lost forever, 2 claimed by the blast and gas, 1 vanished during the chaotic evacuation. Each loss etched silently into memory, a somber reminder of the price of survival. As the freighter pulled the survivors aboard, American ships loomed nearby, silent witnesses to both tragedy and bravery. At 11:14, the bow of K-219 slipped below the surface, surrendering to the ocean without an explosion, without a crescendo, only a quiet descent into the depths, 18,000 feet below, where 16 nuclear missiles remained sealed and the reactor lay cold. Bretanov, the last man off the sub, climbed into a life raft, his gaze fixed on the empty, turbulent sea. In that moment, the weight of survival mingled with the haunting echoes of sacrifice, a stark reminder of the thin line between life and death, courage and despair. Silence enveloped the room, a heavy shroud of unspoken words. The weight of the moment hung palpably in the air, as if the very walls absorbed the gravity of their sacrifice. 3 weeks later, Belikov and Kolesnik succumbed to the relentless grip of radiation. Their bodies, once vibrant and full of life, now lay ravaged, a testament to the harrowing price of duty. K-219, once a vessel of pride, now rests as a tomb on the ocean floor, a haunting reminder of the perilous depths of the Atlantic. Yet, through their bravery, the waters remained untainted. 116 men owe their lives to the courageous resolve of Belikov and Kolesnik, who faced the merciless embrace of failure and chose to protect their comrades at all costs. Their legacy echoes in the silence of the deep, a poignant reminder of sacrifice amidst the shadows of steel and sea.